Hi 4311. Today we are going to be doing reading workshop, and let's do a little recap about the last reading workshop lesson. Last session we learned about how good readers stop and jot in their notebooks when they meet a new character, when these characters' feelings change, when they're thinking about something important, when they make text to text, text to self, or text to world connections. And there are other times when you would stop and jot in your notebooks. So this lesson, we will learn about character traits. What's going on in the character in the inside? What do they look like on the outside? So let's take a closer look. Let's look at the chart. So on the outside, you're looking at the physical traits, what you see with your eyes, right? You're noticing that this person has brown hair, yellow glasses, purple boots, black eyes. She's wearing a cape and purple clothes. So physical traits about a character is what you see with your eyes on the outside. Let's look at personality traits or traits on the inside. So you can tell about personality traits from what the person is thinking, the words that they're saying, the dialogue they're using. That would be a way to tell personality traits from the inside. Let's take another look. As you read, look for descriptive adjectives, words that describe your characters. And you can find what they're saying, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what they're doing. You can learn a lot about character traits from what the character says, thinks, feels, and does. As you read, examine feelings, actions, dialogue, and thoughts to infer or to guess or to sum up character traits. Let's look at the chart to make some inferences about these characters. Whoops, let's back up a little. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so I'm going to zoom in a little. Bear with me. I'm going to zoom in a little more. Okay, that's better. So we can learn about character traits by analyzing and inferring feelings, actions, dialogue, and thoughts. So let's look closely at feelings. I'm going to read a little excerpt, and let's see what we can infer from this excerpt about Seth's feelings. When Seth saw the pile of junk, a feeling of excitement bubbled up inside him. He couldn't wait to begin building the object he was imagining. So what can we infer or guess from this excerpt about Seth's character? Well, one word is creative. Seth is creative. Can you think of another word to describe his character? Let's also look at actions. Brandon glanced at his math assignment and sighed. It would take too long to do these 5 problems. He quickly scribbled some random numbers on the lines and slammed the book shut. Done. What can we infer about Brandon's character? Yeah, you guessed it. We can infer that he's lazy and doesn't want to do his work. Let's look at dialogue. This is how we're going to split the work, Daniela said sternly. I'll work on the poster while you two work on what we're going to say for the presentation. What can we infer about Daniela's character? If you said that you think she was bossy, yeah, I think you're right. Let's look at thoughts. Kelly wondered what would happen if she told her dad that her mom had said the sleepover was okay, and if she told her dad that her mom had already approved the sleepover. Kelly grinned. Ha ha ha, I think it will work. What can we infer about Kelly's character here? Yeah, she's being a little sly, a little devious. That's right. So now let's look at the other slide. I'm going to just reduce it some. Hang on one second while I adjust the slide. Oops, I'm having a little difficult time. One second, let me just try to adjust the slide. So as you read, I want you to look for these adjectives or describing words to help you understand the character's traits, whether outside traits or inside traits. Here are some examples of outside traits. Tall, short, sick, hairy, pretty, strong, blue-eyed, young, red-haired, wears glasses. These are some of the outside traits that you can see. Let's list some of the inside traits. Afraid, helpful, bored, calm, curious, lonely, brave, annoyed. These are some of the words that descriptive words you can use to describe the character's inside traits. Let's keep going. So readers, now that you know what character traits are, let's look at some examples in this slide. As I read each card, tell me what trait the main character displays. Are you ready? But pay close attention. Let's look at the first one. Read with me. One day, Cassie decided to take a walk to check in on her neighbor, Mrs. Wilson. Mrs. Wilson had recently lost her husband, and Cassie worried that she might be lonely. Cassie brought Mrs. Wilson some flowers she had picked from her garden and asked her if she'd like her leaves raked that afternoon. Mrs. Wilson thanked her and brought some cookies and milk out to the porch, where she and Cassie liked to chat. So, what would you say? Which character does the main character display? Think about it for a moment. What do you think? Caring, considerate, helpful. Can you come up with some others? Let's look at the next chart. Rachel's room was a disaster zone. No matter how much her mother nagged her to clean her room, Rachel always found some reason to put it off. Her desk at school was the same way, and sometimes Rachel's assignments were lost in her messy desk. Rachel had a hard time completing homework too. She just never felt like working, but always was in the mood to play. Does that seem familiar to some friends? Anyway, which character does the main character display here? What do you think? Think about it for a few seconds. If you said lazy, that would be a good one. What else? Think about it for a moment. Tell your parents. Tell your pets. What do you think? Let's read another one. Ryan wanted to buy a new bike, but his parents said they couldn't afford one. So Ryan decided that he would ask around the neighborhood and see if anyone had any jobs he might be able to do to earn extra money. Ryan was a dog sitter for the Sanchez family when they went on vacation. He babysat for the Richards family while the parents went out to the movies, and he pulled weeds at the Jacksons' house each weekend. It took Ryan about 6 months, but he finally was able to buy the bike he wanted. Which character trait does the main character display here? What would you say? Discuss it with your parents or your pets or your stuffed animal. Would you say that he was a hard worker? He was determined? He was, what else would you say to describe his character? Conscientious? See if you can come up with some other words. And lastly, Carlos was determined to become the school president. Although he lost 2 years in a row, he never gave up. Carlos worked every day, making posters to hang around the school and practicing his campaign speech. He walked around the school at recess time, talking to other kids and asking for their support. Carlos looked forward to election day. He wanted to make a difference in his school. What character traits do you think Carlos displayed? Think about it and tell it to your family members. Okay, let's move on. So readers, now that you know a lot more about character traits and what to look for as you read, I want you to go off now. Take a closer look at the characters' traits in your books, the books that you're reading now. Jot down or take pictures of 3 places in your books where character traits are inferred or mentioned. You can write the passage down or the few lines, or you can take a picture of those few lines that character traits are inferred or mentioned, and then name those traits. Okay, you have your work. Go off now as you read and pay close attention to the character traits in your books. Thank you. That's all for now. Until next time. Bye-bye.